It's a happy victory Monday. Mets Daily Postgame Show. The New York Mets defeat the Miami Marlins 10-2. I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio. Smash that thumbs up on the video. Comment what you thought about the New York Mets victory, baby. Let's go Mets. Apples in the comments for a Mets victory. And what we talked about on the show earlier today, if you watch, was Pete Alonso coming alive. This guy needs to come up in the moment. And in the moment, he came up and he did what a big boy does. And a big boy hits a big boy grand slam. And if you were hungry, if you had bread, if you had a roll, if you had a croissant, if you had a bacon, egg, and cheese, you might also had a salami sandwich with that. And with that salami came a little extra cheese from Mr. Alonso. And the Polar Bear Pete, with Francisco Lindor out on Monday, having a new child, congrats to Lindor and the Lindor family, Pete stepped up in a big moment. Hits a grand slam, puts the Mets ahead 6-1, coming after a Starling Marte solo homer in the leadoff spot. Brandon Nimmo tacks on more with a ding-dong special. Luisangel Acuna gets on an infield single, and Jose Siri brings him home. I talked earlier about the 8-9-1 trio and the speed and what the electricity that they bring to the table. Well, they brought it. Siri brought it. Acuna brought it. Marte brought it. And Soto brought it. But then Pete needed to bring it, and Pete did. And David Peterson brought it. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts. It's raining cats and dogs, and it's storming up the wazoo. And so is the Mets offense, storming their way to South Beach. They took their talents to South Beach, and boy, did they have some talent. 10 runs of talent, mind you. And the bullpen got the job done despite Danny Young scaring us in mop-up duty. Well, Huascar Brazoban, dominant. 2 innings, no runs. David Peterson, 6 innings, 2 runs. The Mets, once again, 4 games, 4 gems from this rotation, from this bullpen. And everyone A to Z contributed today. And this is a Mets lineup that's going to have new heroes every night. It was a combo of Pete tonight with Marte, with Vientos, with Torrens, who hit a homer. Everyone is getting involved, and that's how the Mets are going to win. That's how they will be successful, is everyone having a way to contribute. And that's what you saw from the boys in the orange and blue tonight in Miami. And this came from an offense that struggled the first series to hit the ball. And tonight, they celebrate. And, of course, we'll celebrate with the Napa Valley Colt Chardonnay. Shout out to Citi Field. They have this at their wine bar, the Copper Cane Wines and Spirits, with a little Napa Valley Colt Chardonnay to celebrate a Mets victory. It's a Mets victory glass of Chardonnay for everyone. Shout out to Chardonnay, and shout out to Pete Alonso and this Mets offense, which was always going to be the strength of this team. They didn't show it in the first series, but you knew it was going to come. And, of course, we take it all with a grain of salt. This is the Marlins. They're lousy. I know they won 3 out of 4 to start the season. I'm not saying the Mets just won the World Series here because we're talking about a victory. We're just talking about the positives because there's been a lot of negative around this team. And I tweeted at Jake Brown Radio about I love the 8-9-1. I love the Acuna, Siri, Marte today and what they could bring, and usually Lindor, because that kind of trio of speed and spark and electricity could really help a Mets team that could use it. And boy, did they come through. Just a tremendous victory for the Mets tonight. And tomorrow we get Sandy versus Sanga. We'll talk about it tomorrow on Mets Daily, but tonight we're celebrating a victory. And, Juan Soto didn't even need to do much. He had a hit, a run, a walk, but otherwise Juan Soto didn't have to do a lot. Pete Alonso's grand slam, Starling Marte's homers, those were the 2 things the Mets needed. I think it was great that they had mop-up duty in the end with Danny Young, get him a chance to pitch. I don't care that he gave up runs. The game was over. The only annoying part of it is Diaz had to warm up, but we'll survive Diaz warming up in March. But, man, you love to see all the contributions they're getting because that's what championship teams do. They get contributions from player 1 through 26, and you saw that today because you had players 24, 25, and 6 make contributions. And who are those guys? Luisangel Acuna, Luis Torrens, Danny Young, even just to eat that inning for the Mets and not make them use any of their higher leverage guys. Pass the baton down from guy to guy, and the Mets are trying to pass that baton down the roster. And you love what you're seeing. No Alvarez. Torrens steps in and is hitting. No Jeff McNeil. Luisangel Acuna, Brett Beatty making an impact. Beatty had a hit tonight. Jose Sierra, finally playing now over Taylor, making an impact. And the pitching. A lot of people want to knock this Mets rotation. Just breathe. This rotation is solid. It's a good rotation. It's better than what people are giving them credit for. So to win over the Marlins, tomorrow's going to be an even better game. It'll be closed with Sandy and Senga. It's going to be a pitcher's duel tomorrow. I wouldn't expect a 10-4 game. But it was good to see the Mets bats break out. Marte in a leadoff spot. He hasn't done that in years. Nimmo getting his first homer of the year. And Brandon Nimmo got accustomed to homering and hitting in the middle of the order. That was good to see. And then Pete. Pete had to get off the schneid. He does it at home. You knew he would step up in a big moment. He's a Florida guy. He's from there. He's got family and friends there in the crowd. And he goes out and hits the grand slam, the biggest hit of the Mets season so far. Great to see. Good sign to see from Pete Alonso. A guy who is looking to get a new deal in the offseason, is going to need to have a monster year, and this is the first moment of his year. He did nothing the first 3 games. Hitting a grand slam is a statement moment. You could tack it on his potential free agent resume or his resume to come back to the Mets with that one-year option. Way too early to even talk contracts, but I think Pete needed something to wake up, and he did that with Lindor out. Lindor was in the dugout. You saw him celebrate after. You saw umpires congratulate him, players congratulate him. Now, Francisco Lindor will be back tomorrow. April 1st, the Mets ain't fooling nobody. They're for real. There's no one to fool except for the haters, the naysayers, the pessimistic Peters. We're here for optimistic Olivers, optimistic Oranges, the optimistic orange and blue, and that's New York Mets baseball in 2025. We got it covered all season long right here on Mets Daily. Subscribe to the channel, smash that thumbs up, comment below what you thought of the Mets win as we end the month of March. The Mets are 2-2. Celebrate tonight. It might be raining and pouring, but the Mets made it rain and pour on the Miami Marlins with 10 runs. And that's what you expect from this offense. We'll talk more about this game, preview tomorrow's game, and we also got to talk about, we'll do it tomorrow, I'll talk about it quickly here. One, Jerkson Profar has been suspended 80 games. Big impact in the National League East. Half the season, the Braves without their big offseason signing, who I clamored for the Mets to get. They didn't. The Braves got him. I was mad about it. Well, I'm not mad now. Congrats to the Braves. They just got a guy who's going to miss the first half of the entire season due to PEDs. I told you on the show last week, the other day, I said Alexander Canario should be picked up by the Pirates and he'd be a starter. The Pirates just traded for Alexander Canario, and he might be a starter. So that timing was pretty funny. Unfortunately, Canario's gone. Wish him the best of luck in Pittsburgh. He'll get his chances there. I'd be shocked if they don't give him a shot to play. He's a good young player. Alexander Canario traded from the Mets to the Pirates for cash. We'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show. But Canario's gone. Mets win. And this is Mets Daily. Thanks for watching. Jake Brown Radio. Signing off. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Start the month of April. Let's go Mets. Thanks for watching. Mets Daily.